What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? You know what time it is. Episode 72 in the mix, big baby. We got a special guest. I am Iamamystreet. Before we get started, you know what time it is. If you got yourself an iPhone and or an Android, do yourself a favor, download the FTX app and stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. I am your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on, y'all? And let's get to it. Alrighty, and so we are live and direct. So first off, I want to say, Amy, thank you for coming on. Take some time out of your, I guess, I think kind of afternoonish right now, and just sharing a little bit about yourself. So thank you much for coming on.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. I honestly, if you would have told me like 2 months ago that I was going to be on this podcast, I would have said, BS, this is like not real. Because I've been wanting to be a ThugBird for a minute. So
nice. I'll say we'll get in that. I guess for some people who don't know, because a lot of people will honestly know who you are, especially within spaces and stuff like that. Quick background, I guess, on realistically what were you doing, I guess, before crypto? You know what I mean? How did you get introduced in crypto in general? And then how'd you find Solana?
Yeah. So like most of my life, honestly, this has been like a giant happy accident in finding NFTs and crypto. The story is like really unique and honestly super bizarre. But before NFTs, before crypto, I was a teacher and a curriculum writer here in Nashville, Tennessee. And then I was also in the music industry as a ghostwriter and songwriter. So I've been doing both of those kind of side by side, doing some marketing here and there in the music industry, but really didn't dabble into any of like the podcasting or social audio stuff until 2021 hit last year, and Clubhouse kind of became a big thing, and kind of got into social audio there, started my own show that was one of the biggest shows on Wednesday nights on Clubhouse. So like 17,000 people passing through the room in the hour, like crazy numbers. Like it was just a ton of fun. So a room was called Women Tell All. That was just like a dating and like fun kind of space that it was just like a comedy show of sorts. Spotify got word that I was kind of doing this and offered me a spot on their social audio app. So I was doing some of that and started a podcast with my best friend. We had a blast with Spotify for about 6 months. We wrapped that first season of a podcast that was called Indecent and Exposed Podcast. And after that wrapped, I was like kind of looking for another outlet to do some cool stuff. Found Twitter Spaces and decided that I was just going to do some virality, like nonsense. Popped open a space, got trolled by a bunch of NFT guys. I trolled back, and we named the space that's iconically known as Rich NFT Men Connect with Beautiful Women. And it was like a huge space, like 2,000 people in the space. It was kind of a wild start. But after we were doing a bunch of those kind of spaces and just kind of riding out that funny NFT room, they're like, the guys were like, do you even know what an NFT is? Like, are you just going to ride this out? Are you going to just use this for clickbait? Or are you going to actually learn about NFTs? So I said, you know what? Checkmate. I'll like teach me some stuff or tell me where to learn. And I did a little bit of both and fell in love with Web3, fell in love with NFTs and crypto, and like became a student all over again. Quit my teaching job. And now I'm a marketing director for a company called Luxy.io that's launching a new marketplace on Polygon. And then I'm a full-time DGen. And but yeah, it's been a wild ride. And then just started this podcast that's launching here in April called the NFT Podcast. So just it's a marathon every day, but
I'm about to say you got a lot of moving parts, and it sounds like good moving parts. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
on you on that one. So you're doing the teaching and I guess the marketing. before I guess the whole crypto scene, what was it like? I guess Solana, you first I guess found that way, or was it like the BTC, or like do you remember the first time you heard about crypto in general? How was that?
Yeah, so my really good friend, Flosstradamus, his name's Kurt, but he was coming out with an NFT last summer. So that was like my first ever intro to NFTs in general. I bought a little bit of crypto because of him, and just kind of kept it in Coinbase, but really didn't touch it, really didn't even know what I was doing. So it just sat there for a while. Once I started getting into NFTs because of this whole spaces boom that happened in around November, most of the people that onboarded me were Solana maxis. So they onboarded me to, I mean, they onboarded me to both, but I, the culture that's in Solana really grabbed me. And like the people are just super, like they're my people. They're total degenerates, total trolls, but like some of the nicest, most genuine people that I've met. And I just really loved the culture of the spaces and all that kind of stuff. And then I dug into projects, fell in love with one of one art on Solana, fell in love with people, and in turn fell in love with their projects. And that's kind of how I fell into almost all of the projects that I've severely bought into, and one of those being ThugBirdz. So
Nice.
the people kind of made me fall in love with Solana. I'm actually repping Solana right now.
Hey, there we go. Shout out Solana all day. With I mean, that's I guess a Thugbird question. When did you I guess hear about ThugBirds? You said you've been wanting for a minute, and from the Twitter post, as far as I know, just recently, I guess got the Thugbird on there. So when did you hear about ThugBirds? What personally made you want to get one?
Okay, so NF Tolly, who is now Yako on Twitter, he was like the first NFT person that I met in general. He's like the very first troll that I met in that first space, and he's one of the people who onboarded me. And after like 3 weeks of being friends, he came into a space and was like, "Yo, I spent so much money on this bird," and I was like, "What is this turkey? Like, this is the like I cannot believe you spent all this money on this bird." And I was like, "What is this?" And I made fun of him for weeks. But then all of my friends that I like was running around spaces with were all showing up with ThugBirds, and I was like, "Damn." These things are actually they make you exponentially funnier, and that is something I pride myself in, is being hilarious on spaces. So I was like, damn, I want a Thugbird. And so like that was kind of back burner. And then I met Birdmon in spaces, when I was kind of running around in the forum with Toshi and all those, and like they all had Thugbirds, and all those guys, they all have Thugbirds. And I was like, damn, he's so funny. And then I started going to hacker houses with Solana. I've been to 3 now. Could have been 4, but it's been 3.
Okay.
And met Birdmon in person. And man, like he's so smart. He's such a goob. He's so funny, but like in a way that most people aren't. He's just as witty and smart and chill and cool. And I was like, damn, now I've met the dev, and I'm in LA, and I'm with Kurt, my friend who like essentially onboarded me to NFTs, and we're driving to the studio to record one of the episodes of the podcast. And I was like, Kurt, I'm gonna get a damn Thugbird. And he was like, Amy, he was like, what's the floor right now? I looked it up. I was like, fuck, I can't afford that. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna camp. I'm gonna see if I can do some flips, and like maybe I can make a little bit of money. So he was like, if you get a Thugbird, I'll get a Thugbird. And I said, oh, now it's on. I said, now it's on. So now I'm getting a damn Thugbird. We're like driving down the road, and there's like stores that are called like the birds and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's in the signs. Like, I'm
eagle flying right next to you. What the hell?
Oh, that's exactly how I was feeling. And I was like, all right, so it's gonna happen, and I've just got to wait for the right moment. And then I started kind of surfing to kind of find one that I connected with, and there was this pink on pink bird, and I was like, fucking damn it, this is my bird. And I like kept telling people, I was like, don't let anyone snipe this bird, like it's my bird. And my liquidity was just like not quite there, and my dad calls me when I was in Seattle, and he was like, Amy, I know I've been making fun of you and these digital salmons that you've been buying into for like the last like 3 months, but I've decided that I like want to go into something. Maybe we can do something together. Like if you find a project that you're really excited about, he was like, I'll send you some fiat and like you can whatever. And I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
so I'm like freaking out. I'm like with all my friends at Hacker House, and I'm like, this is like I'm getting this damn ThugBird today. So with some help of some friends, I was able to like throw some money and pass some Solana through wallets, and I had enough to be able to like snipe the ThugBird of my dreams. And now I have a
Nice.
ThugBird. So guess what that means? Foster Damas has to get a ThugBird now.
You
That's in
heard
the
it.
rules we made. I'm putting it on the YouTube. This is on the internet. It's everywhere. He
Mm-hmm.
promised. So
You
gotta get a
heard it.
ThugBird.
I gotta put you on the spot. Can I get a Caw Caw from you? A little Caw Caw.
Ah, woo!
Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. With some of the stuff you were, I guess, speaking of before, because I'm sure some people probably heard about it and were wondering on that as well, like with the, I guess, ghostwriting, things like that. Maybe you don't have to say like who you've written for. I guess what kind of genre were you doing? How did you get doing that? How does one become a ghostwriter?
Um, so it's honestly like the silliest story, but I've been writing poetry for for forever. Like my mom found that I was really good at writing when I was young, and she made me a book, and I've been writing poetry since I was like in third grade. And so when I went to college, I fell in love with writing poetry and was like, I'm gonna take a class and I'm gonna see if I could get a little bit better at this. So I went to this class. The professor was super bullish on me and was like, wow, you've got to get into like some competitions and start performing some of this stuff. I was like, okay. So she was like, I'll email you when there's a competition coming up and you can go. So I showed up to this competition she emailed me about. I get in, I like get a sticker, I get up on stage, I'm like sitting with all these people, and it's not until the lights go out in the auditorium and the MC gets on the mic that I realized that I'm not at a poetry competition and I was at a rap battle.
Yes. How does that go? Did you are you freestyling
Um,
over there? What?
no,
That's
well, I had brought a poem that I wrote about the Holocaust with me, so
to
there's
a
no way I was
rap
gonna
battle.
get.
Damn.
I was not about to rap that. So I like went up to the mic and was like, "Yo, not at the right place, but like I'll see my way out." People chanted my name until I did it, and I didn't rap it. I just read the poem. All these people came up to me afterward. They're like, "You should really think about writing rap. Like you're really good with rhyme scheme. You're really good with rhythm. It's very applicable." I was
Nice.
like, "Damn." I was like, "Okay, I'll think about it." So then I started writing with people in college. And those people connected me with producers. Those people connected with me with other people. So when I got to Nashville, I was like, I'm gonna try my hand at some of this. I started writing some pop, got in with some more producers, and then um, I just was putting my stuff out a couple years ago and had some producers fly me out to LA, and then I started writing with some really cool people. I also do some
Nice.
stuff here in Nashville, but mostly pop, rap, and I've dabbled in country, but if I'm being honest, I hate it. So,
Heard
um,
that.
yeah,
Question
but
on.
NDAs, I can't really share who I've written with when it comes to the ghostwriting stuff. But
No,
yeah.
100%. No, you're good on that. I would say question on because I'm in the states. You know, some people probably aren't going to be listening whenever from the states. And correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter if it's country. Isn't Nashville a big center for? I guess LA is of course huge too. But isn't Nashville a big place for music? Is that I guess why you went there initially, or how did you end up? I guess in Nashville.
Yeah, I definitely chose it like for two reasons because I got a really killer teaching job here that was going to allow me to write curriculum and do some leadership stuff. I speak I speak a bunch of different languages, and the school was going to allow me to do that,
Nice.
and use my skills there. So I moved here for that reason, but also because I love music. I wanted to move to a city where there was a lot going on. And so I didn't initially move here thinking that I was going to be in the industry, but the industry sucked me in. So I'm really happy that I've spent about 4.5 years here, though. It's been
Nice.
a fun time here in Nash. Yeah.
When I guess your buddy introduced you into to crypto, did you ever see yourself, and you kind of mentioned it beforehand, like not seeing yourself on a podcast or anything like that. Did you ever see yourself as, I guess, indulgent in the NFT, the crypto space as you are now? And then you kind of mentioned before with the community. Because before, honestly, before myself, like before I got into crypto, I guess the NFT spot of it, that was the same thing. It was like, hey, it's a JPEG, you know what I mean? It's art, you can flip it, stuff like that. ThugBirdz was my first, meant that way. And then it was, I guess, found community that way, which doesn't matter in almost all NFTs. It's all a community. I guess, did you, before getting into crypto, did you know stuff like that was there? You would connect with people and have a community like that? Or what are the thoughts looking back, like, damn, you know what I mean?
I honestly sometimes I still think this, but I thought it was all a Ponzi scheme. And it was just like a slick way to make money. Like I didn't really think that anything could come out of it except for liquidity. I don't think that there was going to be anything that I was going to get out of it in the way that it has manifested itself. And although I've made money and I've done some cool stuff for me in that way, I think that the piece of it that I am most bullish about are the people. And the people have changed my life. Like they've really changed my life. And they have saved me. I was in the worst state of depression in November. And that's just keeping it a buck. And they found me, and now I've got all these real life friends. I've been going to hacker houses, and I've been finding how people are putting their passion, changing their lives, and doing some really cool stuff. And that's the reason I started my podcast, because I want to shine light on the cool stuff and let the world know about all this cool stuff that's happening, all these cool people that are doing incredible things because of blockchain, because of NFTs. And I couldn't be more excited about the cool things that are being built because of people, and that one of those cool things is the communities that are being built. And ThugBirdz is truly one community that I wanted to be a part of, and I already kind of felt like I was a part of it before I joined. And that's another thing that I really love about some of these communities, is they're super welcoming, they're super fun, and it just is like you find the right community that feels like a good fit for you. And ThugBirdz has been one of them. Jumbo's has been one of them. Googlets has been one of them. There's a handful that I'm like, these are people that I'm buying into. And I didn't buy into ThugBirdz because I wanted this pixel bird. I bought into.
You didn't want a turkey?
I mean, I did a little bit. It grew on me for sure. I will tell you, when I sent my dad the picture of the NFT we bought together, he was like, "This is the dumbest decision I've ever made." He was like, "I really trusted you, Amy." I've got it in text. I'll have to tweet it out. It's like the people are the reason I bought into ThugBirdz, and the cool stuff that's happening, and Birdmon, like these, and the people that are surrounding the project and that have built it up, people like you that are doing cool stuff. I don't know. I'm just so bullish. It's such a cool project, and Solana in general. There's a lot of really cool communities being built.
No, 100%. Question with you said you went to 3 of the hacker houses. Is that the first time, I guess, you've been to something like that? Because I know from the tweets you were, I guess, got back from the ETH Denver on that one. But I guess as so to say a normie, you know what I mean? Go into a hacker house, on, I know you had a party some, you know what I mean? But on the sense of like what was going on, like how did that make your mind go, in the sense of like what was the experience like? What was it?
I mean, so I had been to Art Basel back in December, and that was my first one. And the people around me were like, if you want to make people think that you're serious about stuff and you're not just some e-girl that's trapping NFT guys on the internet, show up. So I went to that, and that's when I met Chico. That's when I met a handful of other people, Steffi, some people that are in the Solana community that kind of introduced me to the ideas of going to these hacker houses. And so when I actually went and showed up and just kind of did like the after hours kind of stuff in Chicago, but then really showed up to to play and to look into what's happening in LA. And like, man, I just like can't even put to words the cool stuff that's being built because there's so much. Like Solana is doing such incredible stuff with these hacker houses that like I am looking at the plans that Jordan's tweeting out right now about Miami. Like it's gonna be huge and it's already huge. So I'm like, if this is like I thought LA was huge and the cool things were happening there. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in Miami. I mean, they're doing stuff really cool abroad right now, but like once we get back to Miami, I think that's going to be giant. But watching people build in 3D, watching people like Hello Moon is a really cool thing that I learned about when I was in LA. And that's like incredible stuff that's happening there. If you haven't checked out Hello Moon, you need to. And like projects and things that are built with Solana Pay and just like the minds and watching people connect early in the week and then having something built at the end of the week is something you can't buy that. And Solana is building a platform for people to connect and meet. And it's super important to get these devs and to get people out of their houses to do some cool stuff. The euphoria is like might not be sustainable like and there's a whole nother mental health thing built in there too when it comes to like how much momentum like it's like go 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 all the time with these hacker houses and I don't know if that's like we can't do this every week but like it's like I did 3 back to back and I am whooped and then I did ETH Denver. I don't know what I was signing up for but
were they overall worth it? And like in each way,
like I can't vet like I would spend double the money that I spent on hotels and accommodations and all that kind of stuff to get to these to go again. And like Solana takes care of almost everything while you're there. Like they've got meals during the day. They had like it just is super comfortable. They've got the events at night. Sometimes they'll have a dinner planned for everybody. Like they really do a great job of taking care of the people. You just have to be able to get there. And like that's like all I've got to say if you haven't done it, I would consider it. I would consider going to the one that's closest to you or go on a trip because it's worth it.
The conviction, I like it because I haven't been to one yet. I wanted to, but I'm in Florida, so I'm gonna be trying whenever the Miami one is there to making it happen. So
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm gonna be hype on that one. With kind of I guess with you, you said you're doing a lot of the podcasting stuff as well. I guess you and your friend first got heard on the Clubhouse. Is that correct? I guess when you first got noticed, so to say, or how did that start going? Was that like you said, you just like a Twitter space, you just started it up one time and then people started coming, or how did you start that?
So I've been like an entertainer my whole life. I've been a singer. I've been like acting in shows, and I've done a little bit of traveling. I sang a little opera. Like I've kind of done everything. Like out of the womb, I was like, let me put on a show for you. And so always kind of looking for ways to do that in different ways. So when I was on Clubhouse, I kind of sat around and watched other people do it and was like, I could do this and I'm able to do it better. So I really put on a production. I hired an audio engineer. Like everybody had their own intro music and there was like theme music and I had voiceovers for every section. Like it felt like a radio show. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to build something like that. And I wanted to bring that over to Twitter Spaces in some ways too. And do some more of that clickbait virality kind of stuff. I'm really been good at that. So Spotify catching me do the cool stuff on Clubhouse. And then going over to Spotify Green Room and doing the podcast with them was a huge learning experience for me. And it really kind of was, I really think a good warm up for the stuff I'm doing now, because I really feel like I'm in my element. I really feel like I know how to do the podcasting thing. I know how to interview people because I was doing it with Indecent and Exposed. And it was very relaxed. I was doing it with my best friend, Jessica, and we had a blast doing that. And now I've got the training wheels off and I'm doing the NFT. And going into Twitter Spaces, I saw a huge need for what I've kind of put together, which is education and consumable entertainment by a woman. It's just not, it doesn't exist right now. And in the NFT space. So I have kind of taken my talents as a teacher that I have worked so hard on, that I'm like was bittersweet giving up. But I like keep telling people I've LeBron James myself into Web3, and I'm just taking my talents elsewhere. And so I'm going to be teaching and doing some onboarding and accompaniment with the podcast. So every episode is going to have YouTube videos that will pop up. So if we're talking about smart contracts and a normie doesn't know what that is, guess what? There's gonna be a pop-up that says, learn about a smart contract. And it's a video of me doing a quick, like roundabout way of telling you what a smart contract is, just enough for you to be able to go on through the rest of the episode and know what's up. And so I'm kind of building this media empire that's gonna have really cool stories from people that are doing really cool stuff in the community. And on different blockchains and NFTs, and then also be hopefully onboarding in the process. So that's the whole goal.
Nice. With the creative process, I guess when we are making the podcast and stuff, because like the little things like you just said, you know, and when you're talking about a smart contract and has a little YouTube link there, because there are people like me, even though I guess it might be the host of it, that aren't the smartest in any of the stuff that would be like, oh, I do want to know what that is, and click real quick and then go back to it. You know what I mean? So the little things like that you're thinking of course, as you already know, are on point. But the creative process, is it similar, I guess, and it has to be different to some extent, but is it similar to, you know, doing songs for artists or making up, you know what I mean, a beat, or doing the Oh Solana song, because I heard that one too from you. Oh Solana. How are there different creative processes for each one you do, or for the most part are they kind of similar? Like, what is your process that way?
I think that I've always just been like this stupid creative. Like I'm just spitballing ideas, and I think it comes from my dad, to be honest, because my dad growing up would be like, girls, like I have a sister, my sister Anna, and my dad would be like, girls, I've got this crazy idea. We're gonna put a slide in Anna's room, and it's gonna go all the way down into the basement. And like we'd be like, right, okay. Or girls, we're gonna put a putt-putt course in the backyard. Right, that's gonna happen. Girls, we're gonna do this. Girls, we're gonna do that. Hey, let's make a YouTube video and get on Ellen DeGeneres. Like he was just always kind of like coming up with these crazy ideas, and like I'd say 30% of the time they come to fruition. And I think that's a pretty good, like, just growing up in a household where it was like, it was okay to have crazy ideas and like try them out. And if they don't happen, that's okay. I think that's the reason that I am a good songwriter. It's a reason that I have been good at putting together shows, or thinking on the fly and changing things up and switching to this rich NFT men connect with beautiful women, which is like nothing I subscribe to, but I just know it's virality. Like it's a show. People are going to catch on to that, and people are going to come in. It's the reason we got 2,000 people in the space. Like it's fun to entertain people. And one of my my motto as a teacher before I left the profession was I would sit in my room every day, turn the lights out, and before the kids would come in, I would talk to I would have kind of a talk with myself and say, today I'm going to give kids experiences, and I'm going to love on kids. And I'd say that every day before I would start teaching. It's kind of sad to miss that moment. And I had a really good friend of mine say, Amy, like you do that every day, and what you're doing, like you're giving people experiences and you're loving on people. So I think in music and in podcasting and in Twitter Spaces and all these kinds of things, like that's what I'm trying to do, is just give people experiences and love on people. So I think that it comes out in different forms, but the foundation's all the same. That makes sense.
No, 100%. I love it, because just trying to make a difference is, of course, money is one thing. You got to pay bills and stuff like that, but making a difference in a life it's huge. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see that. One, I mean, to an extent, I guess that's kind of why I'm doing stuff like this. It doesn't matter if it's someone looks at an artist, you know what I mean? Someone buys a piece of an artist, or someone, you know what I mean, listens to this podcast and goes to your podcast. You know, like it's just something to make a difference. You know what I mean? With the last couple questions, because I just looked at the time. I mean, we're right at the literally 30-minute mark as of 2 seconds ago. You kind of mentioned it before. I guess it doesn't seem like there's a lot of I guess female presence. You know what I mean? Because I got two sisters as well. You know what I mean? And one of my sisters, she's always listening to me talk, and let's I got ThugBird, I got this person coming on, blah blah blah. But of course, it's the family members that say, yeah, all right, yeah, well, whatever. I guess what made you, I guess not trust, but trust the process of coming over? Was it the people, or why? I guess why do you think? Honestly, a lot of, I guess, females, and I say a lot, and honestly, it's all Instagram. It could be a whole bunch of females behind whatever picture. But I guess why is that? Why is that a thing? Do you think there's a lot of people that don't come on because again they're female, unfortunately get targeted on X, Y, and Z, or what brings people over?
I think that it's something that we see right now in the space is that all of the women that are in the space right now have kind of chosen to be insane. And I say that because like if we just like kind of take out the Web3 thing, we look at tech, right? And we look at where women were in tech. Like it was kind of an uphill battle of getting like the same pay, getting respect, whatever. And like the women that have gone into Web3 who are in tech were like, screw that. Like we're going to go to the Wild West and just start all over and be the pioneers ourselves. So like the people who are building are crazy. Like they're insane. And I'm super bullish on those women. And when it comes to just women who are like degens in the space or people who are building cool things that are not necessarily on the back end and that aren't devs, like people like me who like are front facing, like personalities or marketers or whatever. It's interesting too, because I don't feel like I'm on the outside. I don't feel like I'm like a woman. You know what I mean? Like that's like not something I necessarily feel from the people that I've chosen to associate myself with. I have seen some interesting scenarios and I've felt certain things but I found my people, which is important. I think that the women that we see right now are like really headstrong, really like just like go-getters. And I like have found a lot of people. I've never had like a girl posse, but I've found a lot of women that I've really connected with in this space that I've become close friends with. People like Melty and Alice and gosh, there's like a host of women I could list that have really NEPA. There are incredible people that I see doing really cool stuff, and they're headstrong, go-getting women. I think that as the space grows, we're going to need to see space made for women who are not as necessarily vocal and pushy. We're going to have to make space in some way, or there's got to be room for women like that. But I think right now we see women that are going to stand up for themselves and kind of butt their way in, because it's kind of a boys' club right now. And I don't know why that is, but it just kind of formed that way. But I'm excited to see how things progress, and I keep joking that I'm going to my goal for 2022 is to onboard a bunch of hot women to ThugBirds. So watch it happen. That's the goal. Hot women coming to ThugBirds.
I mean, I'm sure the guys aren't opposed to that one. You know what I mean? Or depending the girls too. But no, I guess with the advice. Well, I mean, what would you give, excluding again? Because I mean, you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're female, male, anything on that one. But what advice would you give? I guess yourself, the 3-4 months ago. You know what I mean? From here and AKA as well. What do you tell your friends that aren't in crypto? Like, what advice would you give them coming on and getting into the space of crypto?
I think that it's important to sit back and listen. I think it's important to not act quickly in the space, because I think people wonder what your motives are. And you're not going to necessarily find your community as easily if you're acting too quick. If you sit back and listen, you sit back and learn, you sit back and educate yourself, and you watch who's moving and how they're moving in the space, you're going to find your spot and where you fall. That could be with the people of one-on-one art. That could be being a creator. That could be being a DJen and being up till 4:30 in the morning and gaming with some friends and playing poker till on
Is that what you
like
did
with
last night?
crypto.
Is this a personal story?
Listen, no, I don't know. I do a little bit of everything. My people, I've always kind of been a floater where I like just kind of I just love people. I love
Just vibe. I like it.
people call me out for being in a billion spaces all the time and like jumping from group to group, but it's just because I love people. I love people, and I'm just looking to meet more people and experience more people. So
Do you think that is something in the crypto space, which is, I guess, a big thing to do to hop into Twitter Spaces? Because I know sometimes that can be overwhelming to people, and or they just don't want to go in there. I guess
yeah,
how important, so to say, are Twitter Spaces in vibing?
I think Twitter Spaces is the fastest way to onboard. I also think it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy to onboard. I'm not saying it's like it's not easy by any stretch of the mind, but that's how I onboarded myself. And here I am 3 months later, and I've got a marketing job in Web3, and I'm a full-time DJ, and I've got a podcast coming out about NFTs. So like it's possible. I just sat in spaces, found out who was smart, found out who were people that I knew cared. Um, I sat back and wrote everything down. If you could see all the notes I've written, it's more than I wrote in college. And then going to YouTube, going to Google and searching stuff, going to DMs and asking people that I connected with and asking them, hey, could you explain this to me? And then when I got kind of the courage and I felt like I was like in with certain communities, I would be like, hey, can you explain this to me? People most of the time are really, really giving. And if you come at it in a not like, I deserve to know this information, you come at it as I'm trying to learn. I am actively learning, and I would like your assistance. I think that that's easy, and I would absolutely come up on and speak on stage. Small rooms are the easiest rooms to get into, and talk with people. And if you don't feel welcome, find another space. That you're gonna find your people. I would just say like find your people, sit back and listen, take some notes, educate yourself. But Twitter Spaces is integral for me. I always am telling people get into these social audio chats because it's the fastest way to learn.
No, 100%. And I like that you said as well, like, maybe you don't like it thinking back about it, but writing all the notes down, having more than college. But like, even though it's crypto stuff like that, I mean, you treat it honestly to an extent, just like a regular job. If you're thinking about investing or something else, you're gonna do the research. Okay, who is this company? Who is this person? You know what I mean? Who do they know? Like that's the smart way to do it. So
Yeah.
of course, good on you on that one. Um, the I guess with the stuff that you do have going on, because again, I don't want to keep asking you questions because I can, because I'm off today, but I'm chilling. But you have so you have your well, actually, I want to add a question on how was the feeling on, and I guess depending on who you wrote for, what are those feelings like on, or like when you're ghostwriting for someone, an artist, and maybe you hear it on the radio and you're like, damn, like that Gaddis is singing it, but motherfucker, I wrote that. How was that feeling compared to like doing the clubhouses and like, I guess, did Spotify reach out to y'all? Like how did that happen? Because that has to be a dope ass feeling.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely communication on both sides when it comes to Spotify. I reached out, but then they, once they kind of heard more of it, they were kind of pushing back to say like, we really want you to be a part of what we're
Nice.
doing. Um, but watching anything that you've worked hard on, I mean, that comes from like even going back to like being in a musical in high school, like, you know what I mean? Anything that you've worked hard on, that you've really put effort and passion into, watching it come to fruition is like the best part of it all. Like the week of the show, the day of the show, getting to hear the product that you've worked hard on, that you put like your heart into, is the coolest part of it. And I mean, I remember hearing the first time I wrote a song and they cut it, or they decided to put it out, and I heard it in my car, and I was like, oh my, like I just like it didn't really hit me how cool it was
Yeah.
to to be a part of something like that. And that's how, I mean, similarly, that's how I felt when I was doing Women Tell All in Clubhouse. Like when we made that show and we hit those hundreds and hundreds of people in the room and people giving me feedback saying they loved it. Like I love making experience. I love creating experiences and causing people to feel something. And I mean, during COVID, I produced for three plays over the Zoom. We recorded, I hired actors, was able to pay some actors that were out of work, and me and a director friend, we put together a bunch of plays, and we got these actors to act on the Zoom, and we did some cool editing to make it all work out, and we sold some tickets to it and made some money for some actors. And like it's like I'm always trying to find ways to do cool stuff, and not just for me, because like writing music for me is like it lights me on fire, but writing music with other people is my favorite. I love co-writing. I love collaborating with other people. And that's like why my podcast is not just me talking at the screen telling you about like white papers. You know what I mean? Like this is about, it's about people. It's about doing stuff and hearing other voices and connecting with people. And I think that in every creative process I've done, it's been my favorite stuff that I've put out there is the stuff that I've collaborated with others on. And I mean, that's the reason I don't want to be a solo artist. That's the reason I don't want to be on a podcast by myself. It's just no fun when it's just you.
No, 100%. Question before the last question. Gotta ask, is Michael Jackson behind you? Is that authentic signing? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You right click, save that one. What's up with Michael?
These are that's on the album. That's not a signature, but that's okay. on the album. He signed the album, and everybody's got that. It's unfortunately a right click save. But Big Records girl got like hundreds of records stored around the apartment, and I blast some. Who do we got up there right now? We've got Stevie Wonder, we got Aretha, we've got Ray,
depending on how you feel, you're just vibing. I like it.
I just cook a little bit in the kitchen, and an Italian girl. It's like we just got a vibe, So
100%. The people that are listening and wanna, I guess, hear your stuff. You know what I mean? When does your podcast come out? When's it gonna be on there? Where can people find it and find you?
So it's gonna be on all streaming platforms. If you're on Twitter right now, you can follow the NFT Pod, or you can follow it on Instagram. And we're going to be posting socials and stuff like that there. I'm also going to be posting it from my main accounts, which are Iamamystreet on both Instagram and Twitter. We've got a YouTube channel that is empty right now. We're signing some contracts with some sponsorships and some partners and all that kind of stuff. We've shot 7 episodes now. They're in post, and then we will be it's like Joe Rogan style, so we're sitting on a couch in person, and I'm really excited about the content that's coming out there. I'm gonna be going to LA and recording again, so if anybody's listening and they're going to LA, my DMs are open and I'm looking for cool people doing cool things. I'm also gonna be going down to that hacker house in Miami in April, and I'm looking for people to record down there. I've got Carol Baskin coming on the podcast next week.
There you go.
But the cats can get COVID, so it's going to be virtual. But so I'm doing a handful of virtual ones too. So if you're not able to get to where I'm going, I'm still looking for cool people doing cool things. So reach out. I really do answer DMs. So
hell yeah. I guess I'm in on that one. Any last comments in general, anything that you've wanted to, I guess, speak about that haven't, I guess, we haven't really talked about, or any last concerns or comments?
No, I mean, I'm just really stoked to be on the podcast. It's been the funnest, craziest 3 months. And I am just stoked to be a ThugBird. I think that like being a ThugBird has really made this whole like what's coming to fruition for me. I think I've said fruition like 30 times on this podcast. What's coming to fruition for me right now, feel like it's like full circle, really, like I'm really doing it, and that cool things are happening, and it like really stamped this first big chapter for me, and I feel like I'm going into chapter 2 right now. So I'm really thankful for the ThugBirdz community. I'm thankful for Birdmon. I'm thankful for Twitter and Twitter Spaces and all my friends there, and Hacker House. Thankful for Solana. Like, I just couldn't be here without the people, you know. So I'm just trying to get back to the people, but get excited for the stuff that's coming out for the NFT Podcast. It's gonna be really cool, and I'm really excited to show everybody.
Hell yeah, I'm excited to tune in and see what's up with it, because the passion you can tell is there as well. So excited for you on that one. I guess with that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Kind of like how I first started. Give me a quick second to go ahead and end it on there. But for real, thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon and just showing some love and talking about yourself. So thank you.
Cool. No, thanks.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what time it is, big baby. Episode 72. Once again, if you're not already, go ahead and follow Iamamystreet on Instagram and Twitter. And you already know what time it is. Follow that ThugBirds, ThugBird Down, and ThugBird Pod. Till next time, y'all, stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive. And one more time, Caw Caw.